everybody. Here we are, Bats and Stats with ScoutTheStatline.com. As always, I am Brian, and my compadre, Ross R. Jensen. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing pretty good. Thanks, man. I'm excited. The first podcast of the 2023 season. Let's get this going.
Yeah, in season. Yeah, like we've done some content throughout the year and stuff like that, but this is first in season. And I'm really excited because we do have somebody else here. And we have somebody else here that we're going to mention just in a couple minutes. But first, I want to introduce this beer. This is Leinenkugel's Summer Shandy. Ryan, you probably have this beer. You probably drink some of this beer. This is a Wisconsin beer. Leinenkugel.
No, definitely not.
Isn't it?
No, well, if it's a Wisconsin beer, I wouldn't drink it. So.
Oh yeah, it's a Wisconsin.
But I've seen it. I haven't tried it.
And it goes along with my hat. So I'm a huge Packer fan. Ryan is a huge Bears fan. So I did a little co-op tonight. I wanted to do some Wisconsin beer because I love the Packers. Ryan is a Bears fan, so he hates everything that the Packers are. So Leinenkugel's Summer Shandy. This takes you to the lake, man. This takes you onto a boat and just hanging out all day. The sun is finally shining in Montana. I thought it might have died a couple months ago and just left Montana, just like, screw you guys, I'm out of here. But no, it's back, and Summer Shandy. It's delicious.
Are they sponsoring this video or something? Who painted a picture? I pictured Shanks, like, by the lake, passed out with 10 bottles, empty bottles surrounding him. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is gone, so I don't know why he's talking anymore.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's over. It's finally over.
We have our third Hall of Fame quarterback coming in now.
So if that happens, I swear to God. I mean, like, I already suffered enough with the Cubs. I mean, 108 years? Yeah. I mean, for God's sake. I mean, like, 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks in a row is plenty. If this Jordan Love kid turns into something like that, I'm really just, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm just going to give up sports or something.
You're going to drink a Leinenkugel's and wear a Green Bay Packer hat. That's what you're going to do.
Jesus.
Anyway,
I don't want to say what I want to say, so I'll leave it alone. But
anyway,
yeah.
Ryan, what are you drinking, man? What do you got for a beer?
Well, I guess I ruined some. I mean, like, I watched the podcasts, I swear, and I did not see, because they do like 100 podcasts. So how the hell am I going to keep up with all that? But I thought I'd go, something Chicago, something, with Illinois, and Tropical Beer Hug. It's Goose Island. It's a big thing here, and I guess Shanks already had it. Was it you, Shanks, or was it Ross?
It was me.
So, my bad. I don't know. He said it tastes good. It doesn't taste good. He's full of shit. And I'm a Chicago guy, and yeah, I can't drink this. But I got the mug, and I make sure it's got my Bears on it. So I do have something representing, the real football team on this podcast. So
I've only met Ryan probably about 6 months ago. Ryan is unbelievable. Ryan is doing all kinds of things for Scout the Statline, and he is now become part of Bats and Stats, and I'm really excited about it. But Ryan, I please introduce yourself. On Twitter, Ryan is at Ryan Can't Write, and it's the worst username on the planet because Ryan is a phenomenal writer. And that's probably the first thing that I want to ask you, Ryan, is why are you like, do you like writing for fun, or do you only do it because of baseball, your love of baseball? Like, that's my biggest question for you.
I feel like I'm like on the couch with Oprah talking about my life here. No, I have a love for baseball. Honestly, I probably haven't written anything down or like done any type of writing in years. So it was just one of those things. The opportunity came up at the Dynasty Guru. I don't know if I can mention them. I don't know
Of
if they're like a
course.
rival
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they're like rivals now. I don't know. Like I don't talk to Taylor anymore.
We're teammates.
No, we're not teammates.
We are.
They're
They
no.
administer our Discord, man. We're like this with them.
Oh, I can't go on Discord. I still don't know how to like do anything on there. So, yeah. Oh, I thought we were all like, I thought there was like tension between us, but I guess not. I guess I was the only one that didn't get along with them.
We're partnered up, man. They're intertangled and intertwined with us. Even if they don't want to be, they have to be. So
yeah,
that's the way it is.
Phil's great. And Epperson, I'm still kind of iffy on him because I think he's a little bit of a spy, or I don't know yet. Him and his surgical notes, whatever, on Sundays. He's okay. But like, no, I don't like Chris Knock. He's a Brewers fan now. But like Taylor, something about the guy I don't like. So, but yeah, they're great. They're great. But yeah, it was just one of those things. I was following the site because of my fantasy team, and all the advice I got was like spot on. So I just happened to see an ad like during the off season where they were looking for writers, and I was like, well, let me give it a shot. And I think it was Keaton. Yeah, Keaton was the guy who reached out to me, and he gave me an AL West prospect from the Angels, I think it was, write something about it. And I'm like, shit, I don't know. I thought it was just like, going to be like, hey, you're hired after an interview. I didn't think I had to actually write something. And I pretty much based it on Jeremiah Jackson and the way he batted. I said that he batted like Dave Winfield, which was one of my favorite players growing up. So that's all I did. And they must accept everyone because they took me in. And that's how it all started, really.
No, I'll be completely honest with you. Like, your writing style, you have no holes barred. Like, it's fun. It's honest. It's everything to the point. And, you're talking to a viewer like you would just be hanging out with them. And I really appreciate that. And that's exactly how I want this podcast to go. Just a few guys just hanging out, talking baseball. And that's your writing style. And that's what I really enjoy. And so I really appreciate you jumping on to STS, Dynasty Gurus. I love reading your stuff, man. It's been great. It's been really, really, really great.
Thank you.
Just a few words, if you don't mind, for me. Like I do mind. I'm a fan of Ryan as a writer. I think Ryan's hilarious. He's got some really great pieces out there, and it's just fun to read. So I'm really excited. He's basically organizing all of our content that we're putting out there, all of our articles, and so I'm just thrilled to have you as a part of the crew. So
I appreciate it. I appreciate the opportunity. I'm not as smart as anyone else on this site, and I just kind of like wing it most of the way. But yeah,
well, that's a good topic in general because you're stuck in a group that's very analyst heavy, and you're probably more on the scout side. And we've had this banter a little bit, and you can see this in the Aggregate series, where our caricatures are kind of playing off each other and our different styles. But I am definitely like that. And we've had these discussions even over Twitter where it's like, I feel like I love baseball, so I watch a ton of baseball. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I don't watch it because of this, but I feel like my biases come out when I watch more baseball, right? Because I start seeing things that it's like, I don't like that. I like this. And then I'll start making decisions based on that, judgments based on that. And that's usually a bad path for me. If I'm sticking more to just data analysis, that's when I find myself being a little more successful. So it's interesting because you've got a totally different experience with that.
Yeah. I just watched enough baseball, and since I was a horrible player, I was like, that kid, Bad News Bears, who what was his name? Who sat on the bench and he took all the stats and he knew everything. Ogilvy, I think it was. That was me. Like that's all I did. I would correct people's batting stances, or I would be like, hey, if you do this or do that. And even though I couldn't do it for whatever reason, I could catch it or I can see it. And it was like, yeah, just one of those things where if you love something like baseball, like I do, you know, you just, you know, kept on watching and watching and watching. And I can get hooked onto watching batting cage tape on YouTube of guys, you know, like when you guys were talking about DePaula, I had no clue who he was. And I found a couple YouTube videos where it's literally him just hitting baseballs in a batting cage for like 10, 15 minutes. And I would just stop it, look back, rewind, stop, rewind, and just like watch what he does, listen for the sound of the bat, stuff like that. But yeah, it's just something where, yeah, I can't do what you guys do. I mean, like my college education, maybe I went to a shitty college, but like I can't comprehend half the stuff that you guys talk about. And I'm just like, yeah, when I saw those Slack discussions where you guys were just babbling numbers, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm not saying anything because I have no clue what they're talking about, and I'm not going to sound stupid. So yeah, you guys are all just in a total different world. And that's why I kind of stick with what I do. Because if I say anything else, I'm just copying off of someone else, or I'm just like, you know, bullshitting, which I've done and no one's caught, but, but yeah.
Well, you know, I don't think that there's a right or wrong way to approaching this kind of thing. There's things that I miss because I am a little more neutered to the scout side of the game, you know, and I'm sticking mostly to data. But I mean, when I was growing up as a kid, I mean, I loved baseball, of course, played baseball growing up. But one thing that I was probably a little different with me than most of my friends or other kids that I knew growing up is that I loved in baseball that I felt like I could recreate a game by looking through the box score. You know, it's like you can almost get the play-by-play just by pouring through those numbers. And I love that. I just ate that up. And so that's kind of baked into me, into how I am now. You know, my entire career is sort of built off of that even, you know. It's just interesting.
Yeah. I think everyone has a different view of the game. Shanks has his own way. You know, in the aggregate, we kind of like gave him a hybrid, kind of like he's kind of like analytical and sabermetric, but he's also kind of like scouty, like, you know, the way I look at games. And yeah. I mean, I know you look at games that way too. But yeah, like it's just one of those things that I bet if we saw one hitter, you know, take one at bat, we probably would have three different views because we see something different. And that's kind of like the beauty of the aggregate, I think, is that we're taking different opinions, different views, you know, the old school, the new school, and kind of combining it and trying to, even though Ross gets to determine everything, you know, in the end, you know, which is bullshit. But, you know, that's just the way it is, I guess. Maybe if I start my own site, you know.
You gotta have the Billy Bean character, right?
What's that?
You gotta have the Billy Bean character.
He's such a smug asshole, and like you're not, and I wish you were, because, you know, like same thing with Taylor. I tell him all the time, I'm like, dude, I just wish you were an asshole so I can, like, you know, not give a shit or, you know, give you shit all the time. But you know, everyone's nice, and I'm just like, dude, I'm like, I'm the asshole. I'm like, damn it. I'm like, I can't do anything. I can't say anything. So yeah, and I'm a diva too. So, you know, I got to get my way.
I know. I love it. This is great stuff. And I'm happy that you kind of dived into that kind of stuff, Ryan, because that's exactly what STS wants to bring out to the viewers of what kind of writers they have on our side. And I'd like you to dive just a little bit more into the aggregate, because the aggregate was a fun, it is a fun article, because Ryan doesn't know me. Ryan doesn't know me. He doesn't know Ross, but somehow he captured our personalities so well. And there was one episode where I was eating flapjacks and just had way too much food, but I was starting to act like just a tough guy. And I was like, dude, I can handle this. No problem. And then I had to run to the bathroom and go and puke, because that is exactly how I am. It's really weird that Ryan can pick this kind of thing up. So it's just hilarious articles, but a lot of information too, because he's throwing out some good stuff. I'll say it for you, is Outman. You nailed Outman. Shameless plug. You can have Outman, man. So I know. What's your thought process through this stuff? Like, how do you come up with these versions of people? Just quick, off the top of your head. How did this come about?
When I'm talking about your dialogue, or like when we're
anybody's dialogue.
He just wants to know how you can nail somebody's personality so well. I mean, even though we're talking about these being characters, like there are elements of truth in there. So you pick that up through bits and pieces of conversations that we've had. It's talent. That's a natural talent. And so, yeah, I'm curious too.
It's, pretty much I picture it. Like the whole diner scene where it's me and Shanks talking on the laptops where we're having chicken and waffles, and Shanks has too many, of food, too much food. He's got like beers in his briefcase. I just picture these kind of things happening. I picture Ross giving us the look, like while he tells us something and pointing at us. And I'm just like, it plays out in my head. And, I just kind of go with the thing where I'm like, if it makes me laugh when I think it, I'm going to use it. And that's kind of like how I, come about stuff. But yeah, of course, there's stuff like you guys say, like on Twitter or, in just Slack conversations where I'm like, okay, I know like how I can, put this into, the aggregate and like kind of just tell a story and kind of show your character or show, the type of person you are. And it's just like one of those things where, yeah, it just kind of fits together and it kind of works out pretty well. So there you go.
Yeah.
Like, it just seems to fit. I don't know. Like, when we go through the process, I kind of like, I do it ahead of time so I can get your reaction, or I can kind of see like, you're like, oh, it's like, I wouldn't say this, or I wouldn't do this, or maybe, like, oh, this is good, or this is kind of like what I would do. Then I'm like, oh, okay, now I can keep going with it, kind of thing. So that's kind of how I do it.
Even if you say one of those things and I just think it's funny, I'm just like, yeah, it sounds great.
It just seems to work really well.
There was two parts to it. Me standing out by the bushes at 6 a.m., like not knowing where I'm at, picking up eggs was perfect. And then once we got to the restaurant and I'm super hungover, eating flapjacks and just being like, dude, I can eat this.
Yeah, you make that face. I can totally see you doing that. Like, I can picture Ross playing a joke like on us, like something like that, where he's like, we're doing an Easter egg hunt, guys. I'm on vacation, but I left eggs all like stupid shit where I'm just like I say to myself, I'm like, why did I think of this? Or why? And one of the things was the deviled eggs Twitter thing you did, where you took a picture of it. I'm like, Shanks likes eggs. I'm like, okay, Easter's coming up. Easter together and just
privately how much he tells me about the deviled eggs. So like that was
deviled eggs looks. I mean, I love them. I mean, I'm right with you there. I would do the same thing. I would hunt for deviled eggs all day if I could.
So I want to clarify this. Me and Ryan and Ross have never actually hung out with each other, but he has completely nailed our personalities out of the ballpark. Hey, like, congratulations, man.
Oh,
like, you know us perfectly. So, but before we get too in depth and like going sidetrack and stuff like that, let's dive in a little bit. Let's touch on the top 10 peak projections on STS. What do you guys think? Like, I'd like to highlight some guys. I'd like to see some historical comps. Do some fun stuff with baseball, just for a couple minutes. What I want to start off with is the number one scout the stat line peak projection, and it is Evan Carter. Evan Carter.
Yeah.
And so before we get to a little bit too in depth on Evan Carter, I want to bring something up that a lot of people probably don't even know what it means, and that is WRC plus. I didn't know what WRC plus was until about a year and a half ago. So let me just read a real generic definition of WRC plus. It is definition: WRC plus takes the statistic runs created and adjusts the number to account for important external factors like ballpark or ERA. It's adjusted, so a WRC plus of 100 is league average, and 150 would be 50% above league average. For example, a player who plays his home games at a hitter-friendly park like Coors Field would have a lower WRC plus than a player who has identical stats at a pitcher-friendly park like Oakland Coliseum. Why is it useful? WRC plus quantifies run creation and normalizes it so we can compare players who play in different parks and different eras. I hope that makes a lot of sense. It's a lot to put in to a definition. Basically what it is a pitcher pitching in Colorado is better away from Colorado, or a hitter.
Well, let me put it this way. The reason that we use WRC plus in our projections is because it's a good peanut butter spread of how good of an offensive player a batter is.
Yeah.
Really, that's all it's looking at is like his hitting, you know? So it's looking at how well he is as a hitter hitting, how well he is at getting on base. And so when we're doing something like this, and this is, we've got a lot of uses for these peak projections, but our original design behind it was for fantasy baseball, right? So this kind of fits between average leagues. It fits between OBP leagues. It fits between a lot of different types of leagues out there. So that's really where WRC plus came from. And all of our projections are rate based. So another reason why WRC plus is advantageous for us, as opposed to something like WAR, wins above replacement. This is something that's a rate based sort of stat. So it's easy to put everybody on the same scale and use that. I would say that that's the big reason for it. And really all of our other stats are derived off of that WRC plus.
I apologize about the long definition there, but it's a confusing one, but it makes a lot of sense, guys. It really does. It's making everybody even. Let's put it that way.
The way that they put this in Moneyball is it's about getting things down to one number.
Yeah.
The one number that we use that makes sense in our system is WRC plus.
Don't look at me.
Did we lose you, Ryan?
It's your turn.
I'm learning right now what WRC is. So, and I actually have a question, and this is like something where, like I said, I'm not like you guys. I'm not into stats like that, or I don't know. I learned what bacon was just like a couple months ago, and I really thought it was a typo when someone put that on Twitter. But when you talk about WRC, and like I understand it's on a level playing field, but the thing is, when it comes to fantasy or any type of sport,
yeah.
The thing is though, like how does that help someone pick a fantasy player if they're still going to be playing in this home stadium that they're playing in? Like if you're looking at some player that plays in the Oakland Coliseum and they're like, it's a pitcher friendly park, then you're putting them on an even playing field, like you said. But the thing is, they're still playing there. It's not like you know, it's changing anything. So that's what I was trying to figure out myself. And because I don't know like this kind of stuff, I figured that would be like something someone would want to know.
Yeah, no, I think that's perfectly reasonable, because when you're compiling fantasy stats, it's not rated based on the park you're playing in, right? I think where we're most well known is for prospects, and specifically right now for hitting prospects. I mean, we've rolled out the pitching prospects and pitching players. That, you know, we've rolled all that stuff out. We got a lot of different sorts of leaderboards out there right now, but they're not as well developed. They haven't been tried and tested quite as much as those hitting prospects have, and that's where we've really had our early success, and so we've continued to grow that way. But I would say with hitting prospects and pitching prospects too, there's a lot of unpredictability, right? So right. We don't know where they're going to end up, like what team they're going to end up for. We don't really know what position that they're going to end up. You know, there's a lot of these other factors that I think play into why it's still a valuable stat for prospects, especially. And one of them in general is you could have a guy that steals a ton of bases, but if he's got a projected WRC plus of, let's say, 90 or lower, then the way that, and let's say he performs like that throughout his career, he actually lives to his projection. Well, a major league team is going to look at that player and be like, you know, sure, he's fast, he might field terrifically, but we can find another player that's going to produce better than this guy. And that's what WRC plus will help tell us, because it's going to weigh those guys down when you're looking at the numbers on here. You'd want to take that into consideration. I think people sometimes forget this. They're just like, well, I just want stolen bases and this guy's fast. It's like, well, yeah, but is he going to get any playing time? If he can't hit at a major league average level, is he going to play? Is he going to get you stolen bases? No, you don't want to go that direction. You know, you got to find somebody else that's going to get you a little bit of stolen bases, maybe less than that guy. I don't know. Just a thought.
Yeah, that makes sense. No, it makes total sense. As it's someone that's kind of like on the outside looking in, that's kind of like where I was kind of trying to figure things out with that specific, you know, stat. So that makes sense.
Yeah, but I mean, like, we're not saying that this is a foolproof system by any means either. So
it's not. I'm sorry.
It's not a foolproof system, as in, like, it's not beyond any.
That's not what I was told. No.
Well, I mean, we never fail, but.
I got James Outman right. I mean, that's my only guarantee I have.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys didn't, but I did. Yeah, you're right. You're right. You know, yeah, that makes sense. I got you.
So there's a couple things that I would like to say about the top 10 here. Do we want to go down and list these guys? Should we?
You can if you want to, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
So the number one prospect on Scout the Statline, who is still, in my opinion, vastly underrated out in the marketplace. I'm just going to call it the marketplace out there. Other analysts are not properly placing him still, I don't believe. But they're going to soon, because his numbers are pretty awesome. Evan Carter, and he's a stud. I'm going to pull up his numbers. I'll just read them right to you. He's batting .343 with a 500 OBP and a .543 slugging percentage. He's walking more than he's striking out, and this is in AA at age 20. He's going to be really good. He's going to be a do-it-all talent. We've talked about that before. We told you to go get this guy, and here it is again. Now he's going to be number one. Carlos Jorge is number two. This is one that is a little more speculative because he's young. He's a youngster. He's 19. He's only got 413 career plate appearances to his name. So he just got eligibility a couple weeks ago.
And we touched on him on the baseball card, on the mint. That was one of your guys.
Yeah, well, he was the top guy on that list.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
That was, no one had that.
Yeah.
I went through so many sites, so many, you know, chat rooms. Like, they talked about him, but yeah, no one had him as their top guy. And now all of a sudden, you know, because just little mentions here and there, and the way he's performing, he's starting to get a little bit of buzz. And
rocket ship. Look out.
I mean, starting to, I mean, if anything, we can, or Ross can lay the claim. We have it on the internet. It's on there. Well, you claim Carlos Jorge.
Even me, I've been a little more skeptical of this guy in general. But I mean, everybody loves power and speed, and he's one of those guys that's been showcasing it. The one thing that makes me a little leery is the strikeout rate. It's only at 25% right now. He's fairly young for single A, but it is a concern for me. Number 3 on our list is Anthony Volpe, and he's in the pros. He's off to a pretty good start, so I don't think we need to belabor that one too much right now. Another power speed guy. Number 4, and this one was a big surprise coming into this season. He was one of our darlings from last year, Emmanuel Rodriguez. There's that Sammy Sosa comp you were talking about. I mean, now he's done a little bit in spring training, and he's had some nukes hit off of some big league pitchers, and I think he's started catching people's attention after that point. And he started really moving up a lot of people's rankings already as a result of some of those performances. He projects for more power than anyone else in the minor leagues, according to the STS system. So it's notable. He's got a ton of power. He has debuted. He was only hitting 185, and injury. He might have a bit of an injury issue with him because he was hurt most of the season last year. He's hurt again now. So he's only hitting 185 before he went down with an injury, but he was still slugging 630. So still hitting nukes.
Yeah.
But he's going to have to hit with a little more average than that, for sure. Next on the list is Francisco Alvarez. He's in the pros right now. The Mets need to play him more. Number 7 is a surprise, and I want to touch on this guy, Dalton Rushing. This is another STS darling. This is a 2023 STS darling along with Carlos Jorge. He debuted also just recently, like less than a week ago. And his first comp, as we update those comps every day as well, just like we do with the stats for the members at least. His first comp was Mickey Mantle. That's a Hall of Fame comp. That's a pretty wild one. Maybe a little too much, and after a couple days, he's already not.
No, he's only Willie Stargell.
A couple notches.
Oh, Willie Stargell.
He had somebody else too. He had somebody else, and I cannot remember who it was, but that was a Hall of Famer too. And now he's down to Willie Stargell, who's a third Hall of Famer. So he's still getting the Hall of Fame comp so far. So,
I don't know, guys. If STS is right on anything, you might want to go get Dalton Rushing right now. Like right now.
I'm not gonna be too forceful with this, because there is a possibility that this is like a man against boys situation. He's 22 in high A, and yeah, he's been a stud since he's turned pro, but he was
decent in college. Like
he
was behind Henry Davis, I think it was, in college. I think it was Henry Davis. Like, he only played 1 year, but then he went to the Cape Cod League and he did pretty well, I believe. But yeah, I saw tape on him. He's definitely, like, he's got a sweet left-handed swing. Like, all lefties look good, but he definitely has like that power stroke. But Willie Stargell, I don't know.
Can we talk about this guy's hamstrings? They're massive, dude. Like, I see these pictures.
He's a catcher.
They look real.
All catchers like that. The only dude that I've seen is like Strider. He's the only dude that's not a catcher that has like huge legs. But like every catcher,
tree trunks too. Yeah.
I mean, geez, I'm like, on my Twitter feed, there's literally pictures of him in those tight ass pants, just like everyone's like, look at his legs. I'm like, what's going on here? Like, what am I missing here? But
yeah.
They are here. I'm just like, Jesus Christ, they do look like they have fucking like tree trunks.
Yeah.
But yeah, Rushing's he's definitely one of those wild cards. Like everyone seems to be on him in terms of like being a guy to key on. But he's a catcher.
Yeah, the nice thing, well, we touched on this last year pretty heavily, is the catcher group really exploded with athleticism with Varshows and Ford and all kinds of guys. But rushing would be somebody that you could probably get relatively cheap. If your compadre in your baseball group isn't paying a lot of attention, rushing would probably cost you like a 6th round draft pick. Like, go get him.
No, yeah.
He's definitely.
I mean, yeah, especially if you're short on catchers. Yeah. You know, you don't have anyone that's like, and catchers, you know, they tend to get older. They change positions. They wear down.
Yeah.
You can't have too
first baseman easily.
Yeah.
Easily.
Yeah. I mean, like, I don't know how he is defensively, but like the Dodgers have like 5 dudes that can play catcher in the majors in their minor league system. It's insane.
Including like arguably the best catcher in the league. So,
but yeah, like it's insane how they just churn out guys. And that's another thing too. I always wonder if it's because he's on the Dodgers that he gets a little bit of helium sometimes. Like these guys, like DePaula, it's like, oh, he's on the Dodgers system. He must be good. All the scouts love him, kind of stuff like that. But yeah, like rushing, he looks legit. It's a question of will he stay a catcher?
Yeah, that brings up a perfect point about scout the stat line. Is we don't care. We don't give a shit about what position you play, about where you're going to be in the future. Can you hit the ball or can you not? And right now, Dalton Rushing is hitting the shit out of the ball.
Yeah.
We don't care. If you're a catcher, that's fine. You might not be a catcher. You might be a left fielder in the future. We don't care. All we care about is getting your fantasy baseball team hitting the baseball. That's it.
Yeah.
And oddly enough, he started out the season kind of slow, and he's picked it up since. And right now, he's still only batting .254, but he's slugging .540, and he's carrying a .435 OBP, so he gets on base. He's a guy that's drawn a lot.
He gets hit by pitches a ton, like in
Wear
college.
it, man. Wear it. I should post it. I should post the video of my son getting hit by a baseball last night.
Did you call it a strike?
No, I wasn't umping. I wish I would have. I would have. I'd be like, "You swung. Get out of here."
I mean, that's horrible that you did that to your own son like that.
You're out of here.
I should have. Was it Nathan?
Yeah.
I should have asked. Dang. I'll have to ask him next time.
Bounced off his collarbone and then hit him in the ear. Like it sounds awful too. Like it hurt, but I just yelled at him. Rub some dirt on it.
Rub some dirt.
There was a mom at a game not too long ago that was like yelling at her son to just take the pitch.
Eat it.
You know.
That's what my mom
just lean into that. Get on base. And sure enough, the next time the opportunity presented, he was like, looked around, smiled at mom. Like,
no. That's something my mom would do. She told me I couldn't hit. She's like, Ryan, you got to figure a way to get on base. She knows more about baseball than I do, and she would tell me. She's like, she stopped going to my games. She's like, I can't watch this. It's like I can't watch you play. You don't know what you're doing. I'm like, all right, thanks, mom.
She sounds like an amazing woman. Maybe we should have her on the podcast.
Yeah. I'm telling you, yeah. I don't know if it's going to work on YouTube. I mean, the explicitives, she would say, like, she cusses like no, she really doesn't. She doesn't cuss. She would actually hit me if I said that. No, I better not say that then. But yeah.
That's funny, I think.
She knows her baseball, though.
Okay, we got a few more guys to go through. So I'll make this quick. Brett Batty, great name for bats and stats. He's number 7 on our list. He's doing a great job. in the majors. We talked about him this offseason. Number 8, PCA, Pete Crow Armstrong, coming in at number 8. He doesn't walk a ton, but the guy is just a pure hitting machine. And then another surprise. Ryan, I'm interested to hear your thoughts on this guy if you know anything about him. Number 9 is Blake Dunn. And he's with the Cincinnati Reds. He's in high A. He's old for that level. Older than we'd like to see anyway at 24. But man, he's tearing the cover off the ball. He's hitting 386 and slugging 702. So again, might be a man among boys situation. But
are you asking Brian or Ryan?
You, Ryan, have you?
Oh, me? I never heard of the dude. I was like, who the hell is that Dunn? I thought it was the dude that played country music for a second. I'm like, is that the Dunn dude? But he's Bobby Abreu. He must be good if he's compared to Bobby Abreu. But that's the thing. I always, when guys are a little bit older and playing in different levels and stuff, 24 in high A, it's just like, those are the things where you want to obviously see what he does, a higher level. But I mean, he's still hitting in baseball. I mean, the level of play might not be as high, but he's still knocking the ball, Well, you can't fault it.
I've been comparing him to Von Brown from last year because Von Brown was in that.
Oh, yeah. Okay, that's your guy. I remember I saw your tweet about him. Okay.
He's knocking the cover off the ball, and then Blake Dunn, he's kind of doing that so far this year. 78 plate appearances. It's not a huge sample, but I mean, he's hitting 386. It's insane. I mean, it doesn't really matter the level you're at if you're, going to hit 400 and slug 700. Guerrero Jr., it doesn't happen that often.
Was he a 2020 draftee?
2021, I believe.
21, okay.
But he didn't debut until 2022, late.
The age relaxation I have got into quite a bit for a lot of these guys. 2020 messed up so many of these guys' age groupings.
True.
Just because of that lost year. So Blake Dunn probably lost a full year of college. He came back, played a full year of college at 22, and then came into the minor league system at 23. So he relative to age, he's probably exactly where a minor league system wants to place him in. His second year of baseball at 24 years old. Yeah, it sounds bad, but they're just climbing them up their ranks. I want to hammer that home that 2020 really messed up a lot of things as far as ages go. Does that make sense?
Oh, no, definitely. I've seen so many guys that, like you said, missed a year. And, they got – even in the minors, of course, they lost a year and stuff. But all these guys are behind. Anyone that came out who was in college or even the international players around that time, they all lost a year. And that's the thing. There's a big unknown with a lot of these players who are a little bit older. But I found it funny. I saw on Twitter someone commented on I don't think it was about the Blake Dunn tweet, but someone you were talking about Jackson Chourio, and I forgot who was the other 19-year-old, but he called him an old 19-year-old. And I was like, you got to fucking kidding me now. Who's old? Who was it?
They were talking about Junior Caminero. Making a comparison between Chourio and.
But how is he an old 19? I mean, in terms of, I know he played more, but.
I think the idea of the tweet was supposed to be more but what about Chourio, who's actually super young and in Double A,
Mm-hmm.
Which Chourio is a great prospect. So I wasn't trying to knock Chourio by saying Caminero was awesome. I was just trying to say Caminero was awesome. That's all.
No, what the thing was, from what I remember about Caminero, his history is that he played in the Australian League, I thought, or he played in some professional league where the guys were 4 years older and he put up numbers. Yeah. So, even though he's a little bit older and he played a little bit more, it's not a bad thing. It's actually a good thing that he's playing more. And of course, if he wasn't producing, then you can say, yeah, the guy might not be who he's cracked up to be. But the fact that he's playing against guys that are 4 or 5 years older and he's holding his own and he's, running, coming up the ranks, like I'd rather take a guy like that over a little bit guy like Jackson Churio, who, has a little bit of an unknown and hasn't played to that competition like this guy has. I'm not saying that they're the same in terms of level of play, but
so I love that take, because that's exactly what we're doing at STS. Is we don't care what level they are.
Right.
Well, to an extent, we do care what level they are, but
we care.
To an extent. But all we care about is, can you hit a baseball? And Ryan just pointed that out. Is Caminero is hitting a baseball, and he's 19 years old. I don't care where he was before that. He's hitting the goddamn baseball.
So we're going to bounce around a little bit, because I do want to go back to something with Blake Dunn, but let's continue down this Caminero path. He played in the Australian Baseball League over the winter.
This winter? Okay. Yeah. I know it. Yeah.
This last year. So after the season he played in rookie level in single A, he went and played Australian baseball. And yeah, he crushed it there. And we didn't even talk about that when we covered him in the player eval. We were just going based off of his minor league numbers. But
I talked about it in the aggregate.
Yeah. We did bring it up there.
I remember when we were talking about him. That's how I kind of remember that part. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you love those Australian League guys.
I do. Well, I guess. I don't know. I never thought about it.
I don't know what it is with you in that Australian League.
But he slugged .613 there. That's pretty awesome. I mean, if there's ever a telltale sign that a huge breakout is going to come, arguably already happened anyway, but I mean, this year he's slugging .743. It's insane. Insane start.
And that's the thing. He played a level higher. On Baseball Reference, it's a 7.4 year difference in age from the Australian League. From his age at the time was 18. So that it's just like, you do something a little bit more difficult, and after a while you start getting better, and then when you go back, I mean, he's in high A ball now?
Yeah.
Or is he? Yeah, high A ball. So he's playing against grown men who probably were a little bit tougher than high A ball. So he's definitely gotten a lot better, and he's probably ahead of a lot of these guys now.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Love it. I love it.
Okay, I want to go back to Blake Dunn a little bit. So I don't know exactly what happened in his career, but I can tell you what I see in the numbers, and it looks like I think you're spot on with 2020. I think he had a big breakout coming that year that didn't quite get to materialize. This is back when he was in college. If you go back to his sophomore year in college, he hit .374. I mean, and then 2020 got cut off after a couple weeks into the season, So he wasn't putting up great numbers there, but that summer league year, batting in the summer league, he hit .349 and slugged .527. So, I mean, I think he was primed for it. Yeah. And then I don't know what happened his senior year, if he was hurt or what. It looks like he played limited time during that senior year. And I think that probably damaged his draft stock.
See, at that point, you're already talking about a 22-year-old, because he was a fifth-year starter in college. He just didn't. He couldn't come out yet.
I think he was still a 4-year player.
4-year, okay.
But still, he was 22.
He was playing in Western Michigan. Like, he probably didn't get a lot of pub, so he had to play probably 4 years to get any type of publicity. And like you said, someone probably caught him, a scout, and said, "Hey, maybe this guy can be a major leaguer after his sophomore year."
Yeah, he's an interesting one. I hope that he pans out just because I love to see these kind of underdog stories.
He looks like a house. He looks like a monster. Like this is Shanks like 10 years ago. I mean, it's not Jacob Lou, but like Don, you know.
You're right. He's not Jacob Lou.
No one's Jacob Lou because there is no Jacob Lou. Unless his name is Brian Shanks. I looked on Baseball Reference. You already know that.
That's right. I like how your response was like, I hope that's real.
I remember I was like half awake when I read that. I'm like, it's too early. I can't come up with anything right now. I'm definitely not a morning person. My brain is not working at that time. I'm just like, I'm just gonna let Shanks have this one.
You know what? It's not real, I guess. Dang it. Okay.
Hey.
One more in the top 10, and that's Cal Manzardo, the Mandalorian. We love him.
Yeah. Best nickname in the world.
A pretty decent start. He's going to be awesome, I think.
Yeah.
I don't think nobody doubts the Mandalorian. Nobody. That guy's going to be incredible.
We can't because Ross will throw a hissy fit and like scream at us. I will. Same thing with Evan Carter. God forbid you say anything bad about him.
You can't say anything about any of the STS darlings. That's Evan Carter. That's Kyle Manzardo. That's Emmanuel Rodriguez. We're going to have some more of this.
The Manuel Rodriguez. Yeah, he's the Manuel.
Let's go to Shameless Plugs. Shameless Plugs. And Ryan's got a great one. Ryan's got a great one that I don't think anybody else in the world has with James Outman.
I mean, yeah. I'll throw it out to you guys. Trump me. I threw in spades. I threw a high spade up. Who do you have to beat me with? And while you guys think of that, Alec Burleson, he is actually having a pretty good year so far. I mean, he's had the time. He took out Jordan Walker, had to go back down to the minors because he's been doing pretty well. But I gave myself a trophy because it says the James Outman trophy because we were going to talk about our hit or, I can't imagine you guys beating me. So I awarded myself. Don't worry about the football up top. That doesn't matter. That's, James Outman likes football. So that's why, wanted to award myself the trophy because I don't think you guys can beat me on that one.
I randomly decided I was going to look up the bacon leaders and take a guess. Take a guess who is the major league leader in batting average on contact. Bacon.
Don't tell me it's my guy. Because he is pretty good at that.
No.
It's not? Oh.
Actually, James Outman is number 3 on this list. Oh, I missed him.
Yeah, when he makes contact, he like you said, he either strikes out or he gets a hit. It's one or the other. And he's getting more hits than anything else. Is it? You got to give us a hint?
Stab in the dark.
At least. Stab in the dark.
He's been around for a little while.
Been around for a little while.
Are
you hot? Oh.
Is it Schwarber?
No.
Is it? No?
Nope, not Schwarber.
Oh.
It's not a bad guess.
I don't know.
Ryan, you got a guess?
Luis Arias. That's the only guy I can think of where your eyes lit up and I'm like, maybe? I don't know.
He's number 4 on the list.
Oh,
up there. Okay. The leader in bacon, and this gets to the heart of the randomness of baseball, I think, a little bit, is Matt Chapman.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And have you looked up his numbers? He's batting 379 with a 462 OBP this year.
Yeah.
This guy, over the last 3 years, pretty much full seasons across the board, is a 221 hitter, and he's hitting 370.
Yeah, he's horrible. Yeah. And I had him on my team. And of course I let him go, and then he does this.
Yeah.
I was talking about him, about how he burned me a couple years ago, and there are guys that you don't want on your team ever again after they burn you, and he made my list. I was like, I'm never drafting him no matter what. I'm not picking him up. Nothing. And of course now, look at him.
Yeah,
unbelievable.
All right.
I mean,
I've got some shameless plug. Or what is this? Not shameless plugs.
Not shameless plugs, but just guys that you are the next guys.
Get some guys. Okay.
Yeah. I'm sure he's got guys.
The first one is the easy one, and this is the bold prediction, and it's not even that bold in my opinion. Jackson Holiday by start of next season will be the number one prospect in baseball. I have very little doubt in my mind that that's going to be the case.
He looks like he's 13.
Uncertainty after King Carroll left the table. I think we're going to have King Carter here for a little while, but it's going to be Jackson Holiday. Whether Carter graduates or not, I think Carter will graduate. Whether he doesn't,
you think he's coming up this year? You think he's coming up this year?
Carter?
Yeah.
I do, yes. Yeah.
Really? I mean, I see you talk about it all the time. And I mean, he's in Double-A, so.
There's my second bold prediction. Carter's going to be up this year.
Yeah, that is bold because, I don't think anyone's got that. Or at least, everyone thinks he popped up, and you've been on him for a while. So I think that plays into the part.
I think he's going to be up. A couple guys that are probably going to be up soon that I'd just like to mention. Christian Encarnacion Strand. Guy just hits nukes. That's all he does. He's going to be up probably pretty soon. Edouard Julien, we didn't talk about him, but he's another guy that I really like. He already debuted. They sent him back down. I think it's just a matter of time before he's back.
Oh, did they send him back down?
They did.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yep.
I have 4 guys that I want to just touch on real quick.
Let's hear it, Shanks. And it can't be Alec Burleson.
It's not.
Oh,
AJ Vukovic, go get him. Matt McLean, go get him. Ronnie Marcio, go get him. And then, of course, the big debut tomorrow is going to be Brandon Pfaadt.
Oh. I thought maybe it is his debut.
Yeah, he's debuting tomorrow, Brandon Pfaadt.
Who's the third guy?
Mauricio.
Ronnie Marcio.
Oh, the Mets kid.
The Mets guy.
The Mets kid. And he just started playing second base too. He's 6'6", and he's playing second base.
6'6" playing second? That's insane.
Yeah.
But does he have room for him?
I did not know he was that tall.
He's huge.
He's a short guy.
He's O'Neal tall.
But do the Mets have space for him? Like he probably will be a trade candidate if anything, because they got Mark Vientos, Beatty, all those dudes.
He play outfield. He can play third. Whatever. Yeah.
Who's he? And they got someone else. I can't think of the other guy. But yeah, they have so many dudes that are coming up on the Mets too.
MILB has him listed at 6'3", but that is a lie. He is way taller than that.
Huh.
Well, those are my 4 guys. So once again, AJ Vukovic, Matt McLean, Ronnie Mauricio, and Brandon Pfaadt. Brandon Pfaadt tomorrow. I'm gonna cue in for that game. That's gonna be a huge game.
No, Brandon
Pfaadt,
he looks like a real deal.
He was an STS darling about, what do you think, Ross, 4 months ago?
Yeah. Oh. He was in our off-season talks.
You guys could have told me this, but that's okay.
It was on YouTube, buddy.
But I can't catch every video, guys. I can't. I try, but
you don't watch every video? What?
No, I said I can't catch. Yeah. I mean, I just either it's your Slack banter, your Twitter banter, and that's why I know you guys so well. It's like literally, I talk to you more than anyone else probably. Now I think about it.
What about you, Ryan? You got any shockers?
I got my 3 guys. I don't know if they're shockers. Bryce Miller, he's debuting tonight against Mason Miller actually, and he was holding his own. I don't know how he did, but I loved him. I was way up on him, even though MLB I think had him in the top 100 at the 90 something at the beginning of the year. I saw him beforehand because I follow a couple people who are big Mariners fans, and they love the kid. And I thought he was going to come up when Robbie Ray got out, but he's been getting hit pretty badly in minors. And I was surprised he actually got called up to pitch this game. Top 10 guy by next year. And also Jose Rodriguez from the Twins. Another Rodriguez. I like that kid. He's going to be popping up. And Kevin Alcantara, my Cubs bias. I got to throw him in there too. Those are the guys that I like.
I like it.
Yeah. I mean, I know that. Look at Ross. He's already looking it up. Look, what can I say about him that that to make him sound bad? Don't worry. I'm just watching how they play. I'm just, watching the game. I don't know how well they're doing the statistical. And Tamar Johnson. That dude's awesome. That dude's going to be fucking phenomenal. The kid from Pittsburgh, the second baseman.
Nice.
And second baseman, that's a vital position. There isn't that many second basemen out there. You got to have Cup of Joe out on here because, I don't know if you can handle it, Shanks, because it's like two Rosses. Because, I haven't heard Cup of Joe talk yet, but the way he just, talks, on Slack and on Twitter, I'm like, oh, fuck. It's like Ross is like twin, I swear to God. I'm like, I can't deal with both of them at the same time. And I'm just like, that kid is just, he's a phenomenal writer. That kid is what he comes up with and how it flows. I'm always amazed. And I don't know if he thinks I'm just bullshitting him when I say it, but I'm just like, dude, I'm like, the way he comes up with his stuff and the way he comes up, it's like legit analysis where I'm just bullshitting and I'm just talking whatever. But he actually has stuff that actually makes sense. And I'm just like, wow. I'm like, also, he could be just bullshitting me too, and I just don't know. But I mean, Ross is checking it out too. So, he's phenomenal.
I think he is doing a great job with his.
He's like your mini me. He could be your mini me.
Well, he's doing great, but I want to say that I think some of the analysis, even in the aggregate, in the midst of some pretty comical scenes, there's some pretty pinpoint stuff that you throw out there from a scouting perspective. That's insightful. I've got some stuff out of it. So I mean, don't sell yourself too short on that because that kind of analysis is important too.
Well,
different perspective is valuable.
You guys are the numbers. I'm just I just go by what I see. But yeah, that kid. I mean, Joe. He impresses me every time he comes up with something. And I actually was thinking of asking him if he wanted to write something together with him and I. But then I'm like, he's gonna show me up. I don't want to fucking do that. So I'm like, no, forget it. I mean, I'll just, And now we got the surgical Dr. Epperson.
Yeah.
The other it's not fun being the dumb guy in the group. I'm telling you that right now.
Come on, Ryan. Ross just said, don't sell yourself short. We built, not we, Ross has built pretty legit group of human beings.
Yeah,
you guys are all doing a really, really good job, and I'm really proud to be a part of it. I need to start writing again rather than just doing the podcast. But
well, this is you got the gift of the gab. You're like Steve Harvey.
That's what everybody says. I don't get it.
That's the ultimate compliment there. I don't know. You can't go better. That's like James Allman. I don't know who you can trump. With Steve Harvey right there. He's the ultimate host.
Thanks, everybody, for joining ScoutTheStatline.com. Ryan, I appreciate you, man.
Thank you.
Ryan F. Can't write. Worst handle ever because the guy's incredible. Of course, Ross Jensen and myself, Brian Shanks. I really appreciate you guys all coming in and tuning in. And
awesome.
You guys take care. We'll see you guys soon.